All right, our last video is going to look at these plate boundaries and see how the different plates affect each other when they do move. Because again, they're all kind of moving in their own direction here. And different things will happen when they collide. So you will get three different types of boundaries. Um, there's going to be transform boundaries, divergent boundaries, and convergent boundaries. And the following slides will look into that. We do get structures called faults that are going to form along these boundaries. So you've probably heard of the San Andreas Fault. That kind of separates California from the rest of our plate because California is actually on a different plate than the rest of our country. So transform boundaries, which is what you actually get at California in the fault line, is crust is neither being created or destroyed. It's just that plates are slipping past each other and moving in opposite directions. So you can get the idea of your plates, can I get my hands in here, sliding back and forth like this as opposed to coming together or separating apart. So transform boundaries, they go like this. They go in opposite directions. That grounding is going to make earthquakes very, very common. Next type is divergent boundaries. You probably haven't been to the Great Rift Valley due to the fact that it's in Africa, but this is probably the most prominent divergent plate boundary that we can see. They do exist at your mid-ocean ridges and stuff too. But basically two plates are moving apart here, and what's going to happen is the land creates what's called a rift valley. Eventually these two plates will move so much apart that it will fill up with water, and if they do enough, you will actually get hydrothermal vents moving there, or created there as well. Convergent boundaries are the interesting ones because different things happen depending on what type of plate you have. So convergent boundaries can happen with the three different interactions with plates. So obviously we have oceanic crust and oceanic crust coming together. In that case, the less dense of the two oceanic crunches is going to go on top and sink under, or the more dense one, like all the other ones. When oceanic crust and continental crust meet, that's when you get those trenches, because continental crust, being made out of that granite, is just naturally less dense than the basalt that is made up of the oceanic crust, and the oceanic crust goes underneath. You also get continental crust and continental crust merging together. In this case, both of them aren't dense enough to sink, so they're actually going to rise, and this is where you're going to get mountain ranges are going to form from.